Hey everybody, it's Thursday night, which means it is time for Haven Comics Shop Talk, and we have got a doozy of a show for you tonight. We are extremely excited about this one, so stick around and see what all the excitement is about. Hey guys, we have got a great show coming up, and we are extremely excited about it. I did want to just let folks know if you've got friends who are wanting to tune in, we got a notification from StreamYard. That's the platform we use to broadcast on. Just before the show, that they are having a problem with Facebook. And that's been going on for about the past 5 hours now. So if you've got folks who are wanting to watch via Facebook and that's proving problematic, just tell them to jump on over to the YouTube channel because YouTube is handling it everything fine. There's no issues there, but Facebook is having some difficulties this evening with that coordination. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up on that front. We're just going to jump right into it. We'll talk about all the other stuff later, but right now I want to introduce you to my co-host, the one, the only. What's happening?
Say
Alan
hello to my
Breathe.
little friend. Say hello to my little friend.
Oh, we got it twice there, huh?
Yeah, we got it twice. I just got a notification from Facebook that said we're live on there, so maybe they got their issue.
Maybe it
out.
worked. Good. Hopefully they got all their stuff in place and fixed.
Well, I mean, let's be quite honest. After my 30-minute rambling last week because of technical difficulties, nobody really and truly wants to hear from me. And we know the reason why everybody's watching tonight is because of... Why don't we just jump right into that?
I say we do that. Right now, backstage, I see somebody lurking, and I'm going to bring him out. Guys, this is one of the absolute best artists on the planet. One of the greatest guys doing comics right now. Phenomenal. The one, the only, Mr. Jason FABOK. How are you, sir? Oh, you get applause. Congratulations to you.
Great. I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing really good. Your audio is a little bit muffled. I don't know if there's anything you can do to fix that. While Jason is doing that, let's bring on the other guest that we have tonight. Guys, this is a loaded show. We have Mr. JOHNS.
Guys,
how are you, sir?
Good. I got applause too.
You did. That's because you guys are way cooler than me. I get no sound effects at all, so I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I mean, if you want a sound effect, I can give you.
No, don't. I know which one you're going to give me. I don't. Thanks for that. Thanks. It's all love on this show. Guys, we've got about 30 minutes or so with you guys. We want to be really respectful of your time. So we want to jump in and just start hitting with the questions, if that's okay.
Sure. Nice to see you guys and be on the show. Thanks for having us.
Man, we are so excited. I've had people for 2 days. We've been doing the show forever. We've talked to some amazing creators. For 2 days, I've had people asking me, "Are you guys nervous?" I'm like,
Jay and I are. We do get nervous. Jay and I are very nervous.
Well, to be honest with y'all, I actually did something extremely professional the other day, and it's only the second time I've done it. And I wrote a list of questions for the guests.
Cool.
So y'all are like in some extremely high company because I don't do that for anybody. I just wing it.
Great. We wing it too. Jay and I don't. I have actually. This is all answers to the questions right here. So.
Oh wow, boy. I hope you've got that indexed.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start real quick. So everybody knows who we've got here. We got Jason JOHNS, Jason FABOK. These are some of the best creators in the business. Jeff, you've been writing comics for a long time now. You've been writing. You've written some of the best comics out there. Your run on JSA was just.
Thanks.
The best.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely phenomenal.
By the way, I love that G.I. Joe cover you have back there. What is that, a 9? What is that, a 9? Is that a 9.8?
Yeah, I wish. It's a 9.4, but it's the one I originally bought back in the day when I was a kid. So cool. The fact that it's in that condition is remarkable.
Yeah, my first comic, Batman the Outsiders 13, is probably like, it's got to be like a 1.5 maybe.
Yeah. If you're a G.I. Joe guy, we can talk later because I'm a huge G.I. Joe nut. And
I am. My favorite G.I. Joe, though, is very controversial. It's Barbecue. I love
There's
barbecue.
nothing controversial
I just
about
think
barbecue.
people
whatsoever.
think like, why barbecue? Why barbecue? And I just always thought, I love There he is. I love him.
I mean, what's not to love? I mean, look at this.
Yeah, he's like Boba Fett meets a firefighter. That's just badass.
It really
He
is.
is awesome.
Yeah, he is
He is
awesome.
awesome. I don't know if you get these the classified figure series, but they are excellent.
I don't. I only have like the repro. Like I have the because I don't collect Joe figures much, but I have the barbecue, original barbecue, and then I have like the repro but retro one. I don't even know what that would be called.
Is that the Sovereign 7 version or whatever it is? I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks very similar to the old one in a package.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
That's a great digression. Anytime we talk G.I. Joe is good.
All right, so if you ever want to come back on just to talk G.I. Joe, we'll schedule that one too.
I can talk some G.I. Joe.
We will do it. We had Paul Jenkins on a few weeks ago, and I told him in the middle, I said, man, I got to tell you, I have a bone to pick with you. And he's like, what did I do? Oh, no. And I said, you wrote Cobra Reloaded or Cobra Reborn back in 2009 or whatever it was, which was the single best Cobra Commander story I've ever read. You made me want to I understood why people would follow that guy.
I never read it. I haven't read G.I. I just started picking up the new G.I. Joe comics that Skybound's doing.
With Duke and Cobra Commander, or are you picking up the Real American Hero too that Larry Hama's still writing?
Yeah, Larry's stuff right now too.
Oh, it's fantastic.
So
yeah, it's got that.
And cover. You are too. God, you were suddenly my favorite people ever. Like you just.
I always loved Serpentor. Like that was when I was buying. Yeah, that's good. When I was buying the toys, Serpentor, man. Mine does not look like that. Mine's not as cool as that one.
Well, this is the new classified series version.
I always wanted Zartan because he changed color. And is it what, the sunlight or water? I can't remember. Which
sunlight,
one.
yeah, he was temperature sensitive.
I had all the dreadnoughts, but I never could get Zartan. He was impossible to find.
Okay, so we're getting derailed on G.I. Joe, and I've got questions. Sorry,
I apologize.
No, never apologize for derailing G.I. Joe. Right off the bat, I've got to hit you with the biggest question. In one of the videos that I saw, one of the montages, you made a comment about someone getting ready to come on board, but you couldn't say who yet. Are we ready to make an announcement?
Oh, that was Ivan Reese. That video was out before we announced Ivan.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. I just wanted to, because there's somebody else that is finishing up a run on a book, and I would not mind seeing him jump to Ghost Machine.
Who's that?
Well, let's just say he's finishing up Nightwing, or maybe he's already finished it up.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not going to say any names.
I know who you're talking about, and you're on target. So we're going to read into your body language there and report that to Bleeding Cool and all that, just so you know. Jeff John said this. No, absolutely. Real quick, the 1 minute version. How did little Jeff Johns and little Jason FABOK, how did they become comic book creators? How'd you get into this? I know you get asked this all the time, and we'll dive into the other stuff, but everybody loves a good origin story. We're comic book fans.
Sure. Jay, you start. You're the youngest.
Oh, wow. He just threw that over to you.
Yeah, I've been drawing comics since I was drawing since I was a little kid. Always loved comics, storytelling, loved film, and storyboarding and all that stuff. I went to school for animation when I went into college, but I wanted to illustrate. And soon after that, I met David Finch and sent my portfolio to him. And that turned into me going to his house every every other day for about 6 months, doing a comic book boot camp, I call it. And
you still have to go out there now, but you have to help Meredith with her horses.
I would actually like that. That would be
they put you to work on the farm.
I have this romanticized view of farming that one day I want to return to my family roots and be a farmer again. But I'm opposed to hard labor, so I don't know if that'll actually ever pan out. But
you need to be a gentrified farmer where you have peasants who work the land for you.
Maybe that's the way I'll do it. I learned from Dave, and then he started working at DC around 2010, and so he's like, let's put together a portfolio. Sent it in, and been working in comics ever since. I was in 2010, so it's 13 years. Yeah.
Dude, you draw a killer Batman. I mean, like, But the story you did that really hit home real hard with me, it was your the Swamp Thing story.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Swamp Thing guy. Alan's more of a Swamp Thing guy, but that story hit hard, and that artwork was just perfect. You got this kind of level of detail to your stuff, but the lines are they're not those real heavy inky lines, but they're so tight and they're so sharp, and it looks like I don't know how you put that much into something on the page without driving yourself nuts.
Jay is a little crazy, so
I
that's
drive myself nuts.
It's exceptional. I'll tell you, the effort is appreciated on my side, on the retailer side, on the fan side, because you look at that, and that's the kind of thing that makes you want to go back and dig into it and study it some more.
Yeah.
Like what's going on in here, because there's so many things happen, and it's like looking at those Bernie Wrightson images where he did all the Frankenstein in the lab, and all those lines, and it's everywhere, but you could study that for hours and still find new things in it every time.
Yeah. I think when it comes to comic book art, the way I see it is I want to draw the image well enough that, most people spend about 2 to 5 seconds looking at a comic book panel, then they move on to the next one. They read the words, they look at the panel really quick, they get whatever's happening in the story, they move on. I want to make sure that they're never, disrupted or that it flows. But I also want it so that if somebody goes back and looks at it, they can really dig in and see all this little detail and little costume things and get absorbed in the art as well. And so
there's no throwaway panels either. That's the thing. Every panel speaks, and every panel has got depth to it. If you plucked it out and that was just something you put on the wall, you could do that. It's fantastic. Fantastic. So you've had all this time to think, Jeff.
My origin story? Gee.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always loved comic books as long as I can remember when I first read them. And
what was your first comic? You said earlier, and
the first comic I purchased was Batman and the Outsiders 13, which is an amazing story about how the Outsiders, these superheroes, those who don't know them, these kind of obscure superheroes that Batman brought together, discover one night that Batman's origin, like he's like Batman's poison. They have to kind of keep him alive and awake or something, and so they reenact it. Alfred tells him this is who he is. He's Bruce Wayne, and they reenact his origin. And I love the reaction the heroes had to that, because they're like, "Oh my God, he watched his parents die. That's why he's Batman." It was such a cool revelation to me, because people would look at Batman and be like, "What's his deal?" And then when the heroes found out his origin, they were so moved by it emotionally. And one of the characters, Halo, I'll never forget, says, "That poor man." And I just was so struck by the emotion that was in that issue, because emotion is the most important thing in any story. And that really told me that these are real stories. These are stories about people. And I've carried that since that issue. But I'd read comics before then in my grandmother's attic. My uncle had a bunch of old comics, but that was the first issue I bought. And then the first issue that I read, it was like Hulk 330. I read a bunch of Hulks. I love the Hulk. I read like issue 3, I think it's 334. It's this great one shot. And it was the first time I ever said, who wrote that story? It was another emotional issue. Who wrote that? I looked, I said, Peter David. And Peter David was the first time I ever knew who the writer was. And like, someone writes these.
His run on Hulk was epic.
Epic. I have a run on Hulk from like, I actually have Hulk 1, but like Hulk almost through up to like the end of Peter David's run. But I'm missing Hulk 181, freaking first full appearance of Wolverine, which I want to get, but it's so expensive. But anyway, I was struck by the stories, and then growing up reading comics, I just loved like Grant Morrison and Mark Waid and John Ostrander and Peter David, Keith Giffen, so many great writers and artists. And I was working right over here for Dick Donner as his assistant, and I ended up pitching, Stars and Stripe to DC, we were shooting a movie in New York, and I met a lot of the editors there, and I ended up pitching the Stars and Stripe to DC. And James Robinson was kind of my David Finch, I guess, because I had met James through at a convention, and we became
He
friends.
is awesome. We had him on a few months ago. He is great.
Oh, he's fantastic. And James, another great writer that influenced me tremendously. And I love working with him. But he put in a call to, I remember Mike Carlin, who was the editor in chief at the time, and said, "Hey, you should check out this pitch. This is a really cool pitch." And that call, I think, is what got me on a desk so people would look at it. And then and Lee Moder had done some designs for it that the editor Chuck Kim got me in touch with, because I love Lee's stuff. And it got sold. I just thought I'd write Stars and Stripe when I first started writing comics. I thought, like, I've got a day job, like I'm busy, I'm working on all this stuff. And then that led to another JSA and ultimately The Flash, which was my dream job, is to write The Flash. And I mean, I've been only writing comics for 5 or 6 months, and I got a call, "Hey, do you want to write an issue of a fill-in arc on The Flash?" And I was just starting, and I thought, oh my God, I'm my dream book already. And and then it kind of just exploded from there. And eventually, like, when Marvel called and offered me Avengers, I left. I've been working for Dick for 4 years. I left, and I was working for Marvel and DC, and that was kind of my origin story.
Okay, so I have to ask, what was it like for you? You literally write The Flash, and then one day you turn around and you're standing on set looking at The Flash. I mean, was that kind of surreal?
It's all been surreal. Surreal. I mean, when I was like, the fact that I even like know Marv Wolfman, like, is surreal to me. Like, he's
what a legend that dude is.
He is, and he's such a nice guy. It's all surreal to me because I love this industry so much and these characters so much. And I always was like, do I want to get into comic books or television and film? And I said I would like to do both, and I got lucky enough to do that. But yeah, it's very surreal to see all of it unfold. It was surreal to any of it, any of it. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I'm like, Aquaman's cool, and everyone's like, Aquaman sucks. I'm like, he's great. And then I got to write the comic, and then I got to write the movie, and then I got to, like, see all that happen. It was cool. But I'm very lucky, very, very lucky.
Any character is as good as a story as you can tell with them, in my opinion. If you go back and you look at Warren Ellis had an issue of Thunderbolts where he pulls on this old character from the 70s for Marvel, American Eagle, if you guys remember that guy. A random, hardly ever used character. He's an American Indian guy who's essentially like Captain America. And whoop-de-doo, nobody cares. Well, he was in one issue of Thunderbolts, and I wanted to see a series on that guy. Like,
yeah,
this dude's amazing.
I completely agree, Josh. One of the writers, John Ostrander, used to take characters out of nowhere and make them super interesting to me. Characters I never heard of, like this. I didn't know who the Spectre was when I read the Spectre book by him, or Suicide Squad when he brought in Captain Boomerang and Deadshot and everybody. For me, he just crushed it on taking characters that are obscure. There's a reason I didn't do Batman and a Joker story till Jason and I did 3 Jokers.
Holy smokes, what a story that was.
Batman and Joker are already cool. Like, they don't need my help. They've got so many great stories. And if I was going to do a story with Batman and the Joker, it had to be a really special story, because I always gravitated towards the characters that were kind of forgotten, and I saw so much potential in them. But with Jay and I, when we started talking about Batman and the Joker, it was the first time in my life I was like, okay, I have a Joker story now. And Jay and I did that.
Those multiple versions of the Joker, the fact that you had a story where you could draw all the different versions, I thought was great. I imagine that was fun. But that reveal there toward the end of, like, well, I've known who the guy was since like the first week. I'm a detective, you idiots. Like, that was such a great reveal, because it makes all the sense in the world that would be the case.
So let me give Jay some props too, because Jay and I, and we started this on Justice League, on Amazo Virus and Darkseid War and Batman 3 Jokers and Rook Exodus. We basically kind of co-plot all the stories, because Jay and I talk about every aspect of it. And I remember when Jay and I were on the phone, I remember where I was talking to Jay about that reveal. it was it was like we talked a lot about the weight of it and how to do it and why we were doing it, and it was a really important, and it's also thematically tied to it because, by the way, the Joker's real name is not important. It doesn't really matter. It's what he does and what he is. But and I talked about it was like Batman would it's cool that he would know.
Mm-hmm.
He should know. He's Batman, and he would work really hard to figure it out, and he would figure it out. There's so many reasons to. How he figured it out doesn't really matter, but ultimately that he did figure out. But why didn't he say anything? And Jay and I talked a lot about it, and came up with that ending. But Jay,
I loved that. I thought that was absolutely brilliant, and it was pitch perfect. It wasn't the big smash bang boom kind of a ending to the story. It was this introspective kind of a thoughtful ending, but it was so hard hitting. And I thought it was just brilliantly done. That little tidbit of information just changed everything in the coolest way because it was so subtle. But I thought it was fascinating. I loved it.
Thanks. I think Jay and I talked a lot about it, and then I'm going to shut up and let Jay talk. Jay and I talked a lot about it, and one of the things was if Joker was going to kind of ultimately know Batman was Bruce Wayne, which he should, that, and he has in books, that he couldn't win. Batman still wins the day by having information the Joker doesn't know.
Yeah.
So now y'all talked about every aspect of it. When you, and I mean, I know we have limited time. When you get ready to start something like Ghost Machine, and I mean, y'all are branching out into all these titles and everything, and you're bringing other people on. I'll be honest with you. One of the shocks to me was seeing Brad Meltzer. I was kind of like, oh, okay, this looks cool. Do you have to, when y'all are doing something like this, do y'all have to sit down with everyone that's going to be involved in the universe? Or do y'all just kind of, okay, this is what we're working on. How do we tie it together? And just kind of throw that out there. I mean, is it like an actual sit down meeting? Let's figure this out several months in advance, or how does that part come about?
That's a hard one.
It's interesting because it's so organic to us. We never sit there and go like, all the books are definitely the combinations of personalities.
Yeah.
It, like, if you know, I think because all of us, sorry, I'm talking so much, Jay. I think because all of us know each other so well at this point, like really well, intimately well. Because what we've been through building this company and working together now, that if you look at the books, you actually, if you know us, you can say, of course, that's Jason and Jeff. That's a common. Rook Exodus is literally a combination of us and ourselves into a book, manifested into a book. So all our books, we never sat and go, hey, I'm going to do this like a science fiction book, so don't do a science fiction book. Like it never happened. Like we never kind of, oh, you got them already. You got them before I did. Everyone else.
Our lunar shipment showed up today.
I didn't get mine yet.
You want me to give you some spoilers?
Anyway, we Alan, we do talk about what we're doing, and we were very meticulous when we started laying out our ideas. Like that, you know, we didn't want everything to cross over. We didn't want Rook to have to fit into Geiger because we wanted every kind of tone to be its own universe. So the unnamed, like Geiger and Redcoat, it can exist in the unnamed, and there's interaction there with Junkyard Joe and other characters, and with Rook Exodus, it could be its own kind of sci-fi universe. And you know, I was talking to someone who said, you know, I haven't really seen a company that has multiple shared universes, and we came up with those because of the tone and the, you know, Pete Tomasi does such great work with like Super Sons and Batman and Robin and Superman. Yeah, that's awesome. I want my copies, Jay.
I love the character designs in this book.
Yeah.
We had a question up here earlier, and that was several minutes ago, so I'm going to just jump to it real quick, which is, can you give a brief, no spoiler description of the Rook, because it looks really awesome?
Jay can do it.
I guess it's my turn
It is
to do the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
So Rook it takes place in the future. It's a sci-fi action adventure. It's about this farmer from Earth who goes to this planet that Earth has essentially taken over, and they've made it into like this utopia where they use technology to control everything on the planet, from the animal life to the weather to the plant life, everything. So he goes there with the promise that things are going to be better there on this world, and gets there, and things don't go too well. The world engines start to fail. People who are able to escape off the planet, leaving behind all the workers and staff and people who were there on this planet, and also just people who couldn't get off the planet. Rook is one of a number of characters that we call wardens. They have these helmets that look like different animal species, and these helmets allow them to control different animals. So Rook, he can control crows, blackbirds, rooks, ravens. We have a character called Direwolf.
Corvids in general, I'm guessing.
Yeah. We have Direwolf, who can control. She's got like a pack of wolves. There's Swine, who's got a herd of big wild boar.
I have to tell you, just from the Ghost Machine one shot, I love that dude.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Not just because I kind of feel a kinship with him. Like that's my spirit man right there, running around with a bunch of pigs. But yes, the battle pigs, I'm all for it. I was loving that.
Yeah, so it's the story is about Rook. He's trying to build a spaceship and get off this planet, and he's trying to run away kind of from the problems that he's facing, and he's challenged with that. And is he going to take flight, or is he going to stay and fight, as there are evil forces that are amassing themselves on this planet? And so it's giant epic battles with animals and these wardens duking it out with a dying world. There's cool ships or vehicles that are like animal themed, but it's all in all, it's a very emotional story. We dig into some really cool themes of nature versus technology, fight or flight, but all wrapped up in a big action adventure, sci-fi, Star Wars, Mad Max, and Clint Eastwood bubble. Like it's all in there. It's all the things that we really loved. Especially a lot of people have like immediately the things that came to mind when we were kind of developing this were like 80s cartoons, He-Man, Westerns, like all these kind of genre kind of things too. And so it's all in there, and it's just a big, I don't know. It's the kind of book I've always wanted to do and always wanted to see, and I've never seen anything like this. So, just we're really proud of it. Really proud.
Well, I'm really glad you mentioned the ships, because this guy right here, he works up at the shop. He works at Haven. Phenomenal artist. He's working on some cool stuff. But the first thing he pointed out when we were pulling these out of the boxes today and getting the order processed and making sure they didn't short us on anything, was he's like, these ships. Look at these ships. And he was pouring into the detail on the ships. And yeah, that's what he was really digging, those ships right off the bat. That's what he was digging into. So I'm glad you mentioned those. I hope that answers your question, Bill. Yeah, there we go.
Rook drives this really cool, like it's like a monster truck meets starship. It's got like a bird's beak on the front, so it's kind of like, and wings on the side, so it kind of has an animalistic kind of flair. All the characters kind of have these vehicles that resemble, in a way, like the animal that they are, and it's like we're really playing with those themes because it's fun. It's kind of, it's fun to play with that.
I'll tell you what it seems like or feels like to me is like a little bit of a mix of G.I. Joe and Batmobile kind of stuff coming together, because the vehicles in G.I. Joe are part of it, right? That's part of the fun. And when you got something like that one you just showed kind of reminds me a little bit of that Dreadnought vehicle that Road Pig came with, this kind of thing. I dig it. I love it. So that's awesome. So this is one of the titles, everybody, that hits the stands on Wednesday next week, April 3rd, which is part of Ghost Machine Day. I don't know if that's official per the U.S. government, but it's official at Haven Comics.
It is.
I know from retailer forums and such that we're on that's going to be the case at an awful lot of stores across the country. And conveniently, Haven, my shop, celebrates our 23rd birthday on April 2nd.
Oh, cool. Happy birthday.
So the best birthday present we got is the launch of a new company with 3 awesome titles. And we are super excited about that. So we are going to be offering a very imaginative and very creative 23% discount to all of our subscribers who are signed up for these books for that day. Come and get them. You have no excuse, none whatsoever. How can you not want these?
All I heard was I'm getting a 23% discount next week. So
that's right. That's right.
I've actually got it pulled up on my other screen, and I know that we're pretty much out of time, but I did want to ask this right quick. I've got the unnamed timeline that I'm looking at. So we literally start with Redcoat in 1776. We go up to Geiger in, was it 2050?
25 years from now, yep.
Okay,
That's
so
frighteningly close, by the way. I'm not a fan of that.
I mean, and in between we've got Junkyard Joe, the Northerner, Ghost, the Beast. I mean, I'm sorry, the Monster. Is this going to be one of those where they'll kind of show up in each other's books and team up every once in a while, or are we going to get like something really cool to where they've got to fight each other before they can trust each other? I need spoilers.
Alan, all the above sounds great to me. So, but it's
good answer. I'll accept that answer.
Yeah, but you know, like if you look at Junkyard Joe, he's a robot. So
I love that, by the way.
Thank you.
The name of it, you had me from the jump because I heard your echoes of G.I. Joe, and it's tied to Vietnam, which G.I. Joe, I was all about it. And I get, it's like a vibe of G.I. Joe in that movie Real Steel, which I enjoyed far more than I should have probably.
We have some cool Junkyard Joe news coming out later this summer. But yeah, Junkyard Joe, since he's a robot, we saw him in Geiger, the first volume of Geiger.
Yep.
Before the series, but he'll be in the Geiger monthly book. You'll see him return, and also Simon's immortal, so he can exist in every one of these titles, every one of these characters' timelines because of that. We'll see some appearances. Each book's really designed to, like, Geiger has its own supporting cast, its own tone, its own mission statement, just like Redcoat does. We really want these books to feel individual and character focused. Like, and the books celebrate who the lead character is. The tone of the book is the tone of the character. So Geiger is a little tough and gritty, but it's got like kind of this balance between a lot of brutal violence and heart. And Redcoat is just this kind of ride, crazy ride through American history with this this ne'er-do-well mercenary named Simon Pure. But at the same time, they all coexist in this unnamed timeline, and there will be some interactions, I'll say. But we want all the books to stand alone as well.
So it's clear from that timeline that there's something significant about these wars where there's some nexus event during these wars that spawns this one particular reaction in somebody sometimes. My dog's barking at the UPS man who's driving down the street. But it's clearly not all the time. Every war doesn't have one of these. So I'm curious to see if that unfolds, how these events came to pass. And I have questions on this, a few questions, one of which is this wraparound cover.
Yep.
So we've got the Northerner here, which for a guy I've seen 2 images of and read a bio this big in the one shot. I'm super intrigued by this dude.
He's a great character. I'm super excited for you guys to meet him and get to know him, but he definitely is a mystery, and we'll peel that mystery back as we go.
So is this Davy Crockett or Daniel Boone, or who is that?
That's Davy Crockett. There's Annie Oakley there.
That is Annie Oakley. Okay, we were wondering, fighting Wendigos.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
And then you see Albert Einstein, a little 13-year-old Albert Einstein.
That's who the kid is at the bottom. Okay, that explains the hair. Okay,
him as a kid, and what his adventures were before he became the famous Albert Einstein. He and Simon developed a pretty interesting relationship in the first arc of this series.
Now, Is this intended to be? Who is this?
That's George Washington.
Okay, we were wondering.
But
That
yeah,
was what we thought.
yeah,
But
you'll see all those characters. They're all part of Redcoat's world, and again, one of the reasons these first 3 books are out is because at the same day, it's because we wanted people to know right away that Ghost Machine is, first off, the most beautiful art on the stands. Like, you're not going to find better looking books. High quality, obviously, paper and cover, but that's, everybody can do that.
they can, but they don't.
You're right. They can, but they don't. It costs more money, but we're all about quality. That's like
DC recently switched all their cover stock to the same pages as the interiors, and that's brutal. Those books show up, and if you look at them funny, they're damaged. It's absolutely brutal. So greatly appreciated the quality that went into these.
We really, I have to say, everyone's putting from Brad Anderson on colors, Rob Lee on letters, like Brian Cunningham's editing our books. Our whole team just loves comics and wants to put out great books. And because it's our company, we're the ones that can say we want the best covers, we want the best paper quality. No one's going to say it's cost too much, because again, we're all about making great books first, and everything else comes afterward. We believe that. So, but we wanted all 3 to come out the same day because we wanted people to see that our books are not all the same, so that there's a lot of different tones and a variety to the stories we're going to tell, the kind of stories we tell, and the kind of characters we have.
Oh yeah, that's clear from the other books down the line. Like Rockefellers is a totally different vibe from these, and then Ivan's book is a totally different vibe from the rest of these. So it's got a little bit of horror. It's got this optimistic futurism kind of going on. And then you've got like war books and superhero books and sci-fi books, and you've got this whole variety. I appreciate, and I know you guys aren't privy to some of the things that go on in retailer forums and such, because that's where they're behind closed doors, right? But retailers on the whole, very excited about the release of multiple books on the same day as kind of a wave of books. Really meaningful for us because we can promote that as an event.
Mm-hmm.
And when we say it's Ghost Machine Day, we mean it. This is an event. This is not. This shows. This reminds me back in the early days. There's not a lot else to compare Ghost Machine to, other than the founding of Image. Really, when you have this collection of talent, although that was all artists primarily, and then some writers have come in later, but. This is a mix of writers and artists and colorists and inkers and everybody who what a collection of talent. And it's not something that we've seen before outside of that initial founding of Image, where folks have said, we're going to form our own company because we've got these ideas and these things we want to do. And I couldn't be happier to have these hitting the stands. We're big believers in independent comics at Haven. And we love DC, we love Marvel, absolutely, but we're big believers in independent comics, and so we're really glad to see that you guys have come together to form this company, because we know the kind of stories, maybe not the kind of stories, but we know the kind of quality we're going to get.
Thanks, Josh. That's I think Jay and I and all of us, like, talent is key, and we work with the best people in the industry, and they're not just the most talented, but they're the nicest, they're the most dedicated, passionate, kind. Like, this is a great group of people. And that's why the books, I think, are going to be really, really good. Now,
so we're automatically, for this question, we're going to take Redcoat, Geiger, and Rook off the table. The answer cannot be one of these 3 books. But what book are y'all most looking forward to that's coming from Ghost Machine?
Mine, I was really sold on Rockefellers. I've been wanting a book. I've been wanting to find books that I could sit down and read with my son. My son's 8 years old. He loves comics. But by the way, Rook, we sat and read it together the other night, and we made sure there's a little bit of violence in there, but it's pretty clean when it comes to language, and it's something that I think, like, a 10-year-old and up maybe can grasp and get into. I really wanted that because my son loves Rook in the World, and he's been begging me to read the book, and so we really wanted to make sure a kid like that could read it. But with Rockefellers, that really, for me, it sparks that, because it's something I could sit down with my kids, I could read. And I love Francis's art, and that
Gorgeous.
that little story that they did in Ghost Machine 1 totally sold me to the idea. Like, I wanted more. I was like so hungry for it. And I love the concept of that one. And then I would also say Ivan's book, Hyde Street, because I love Ivan. A big thing that got me into comics, or wanting to pursue comics as a career, was Blackest Night. I remember reading that when I was just
So good.
and that blew me away. In fact, like, if I can show you, I got still hanging on my wall.
Oh,
is
heck yeah.
signed by Jeff, which I got at C2E2. I snuck in and met him just really quickly and threw my poster in front of him, and he signed it for me. That was right when that book was kind of, I think it was out it was probably finished by that time. But that I've always loved that artwork in that book. And so Hyde Street is one of those ones I'm looking, but I'm not really I'm not a horror fan. So Jeff's really got to sell me on this one when it comes to the writing and stuff like that. So
Well, it looks more psychological, right? And it's also it's got this kind of a impish, mischievous sort of a look to it too, which makes it, sometimes it amps up the creepy level, but sometimes it softens it a little bit, even though the creep factor is still there. What you said about the Rockefellers was dead on, though. I have to confess, that one, when I was like looking at the lineup and looking at the different titles, that's the one I had the most, I guess, skepticism about. I'm like, I don't know about this. This one seems like it might not be up my alley. And they don't all have to be up my alley. They have to appeal to a whole lot of different people, right? If everything was for me, it'd be a very boring world for everybody else. But I looked at it and I was like, I don't know about this. And then I read it and I was absolutely hooked. It was like this brilliant mishmash of Fantastic Four and Iron Man in the way that you would love to see that, with this whole family concept. The artwork was exquisite, and it had this optimistic, futuristic tone that you don't see in a lot of books these days. You see a lot of doom and gloom and like hardcore and gritty, but fun has been missing for a while. I will say Ryan North is absolutely killing it on Fantastic Four right now. If you guys are not reading that, he has been absolutely pitch perfect on that. It's so much fun. And Rockefellers had that vibe to me, and I went from being a skeptic to being a big fan. And I have to credit Tom again from the shop, because that was the one. He was like, no, Rockefellers is going to be awesome. You're an idiot. What are you thinking? And so he was right. I was wrong. I confess. I will never say it again, Tom. So enjoy it now.
Well, I love the Fantastic Four book too. Currently, I think it's great. I love those covers as well by Alex.
Oh, Alex Ross, yeah, that one with where they find the skeletal remains of Sue Storm from the pyramids. And oh God, that was, what a cover.
But Rockefellers, like, that is, I have the privilege of having already read the first script. So, and I think it's one of the best things, if not the best thing, Pete Tomasi's ever written. It was so good. And Francis is a genius, literally a genius. So, but I'm looking forward to all the books. Like, I'm excited about all the books. I think that's.
Oh, he lawyered you, Alan.
Yeah, he did.
It's one.
I can't pick a favorite kid book. He lawyered you.
It's hard because it's really like, and also because it's our company, we all co-own everything. So we're all rooting for all the books. Like, I hope I'm excited for every single book that's coming out. And obviously I'm working on a lot of them, but I'm excited for all the books coming out, because I know the people that are working on them, and I know how hard everybody's working on these books. These are good books. And they're like you said, they're not going to be for everybody, but there's going to be an audience for every one of the books. I think they're just because of the quality level.
Well, one of the things you pointed out, Jason, was the family-friendly nature of Rockefellers. And I'll tell you, it's, as a retailer, that's something for me. I have people come in with 8, 9, 10-year-old kids all the time. What's a good comic for my son? And I can't point them to Spider-Man anymore. That used to be an absolute go-to, and I can't. It's not for them anymore. And there's a real shortage of books that are for those guys. For kids that age, they're not reading Dog Man. They're not just like, ooh, getting into this. They want serious comics, but they need to be at a certain level as far as, plot wise, story wise, artwork wise, and violence and sexualism and all those kind of things. It has to be at a certain level, and Rockefellers really pitch perfect. It's a mature book. It's not it's not childish, but it's made for kids, and that's a difference. And I really appreciate that, and I intend to stock up on that book for that reason alone, so that when kids come in, what's a good book I can read? I can put that in their hand and say, here you go. Yeah. You read this.
Yeah,
you're dead on.
Yeah, Hornsby and Halo is going to be the same kind of title in terms of tone, and that's going to be, to me, that's a really exciting book too. I love that previews. Peter Steinberg's an amazing artist, and that's another one that's in the Rockefeller universe that Pete's got some pretty cool plans for.
I do want to point out just another thank you guys for Ghost Machine #1, the one shot kind of compendium that you put together that had all the information, all the different little snippets of the books. The fact that you gave us that primer to whet people's appetites was awesome. Mm-hmm. And then the fact that you had enough faith in the product that you provided an overship to what people ordered. That was huge. One of the things that I have, like I said, love Marvel, love DC, and always will. But they don't always have a lot of faith in their product. And it shows in the way that they market it. It shows in the way that they don't market it, that they consider the retailer as the end customer, not the reader. Yeah. So they figure, I've done my bit, I sold it. Never mind the fact that I've got 20 copies languishing on my shelf because it's not any good, right? So what you guys did, where you said, look, we believe in the product and we're going to put this overship in here and send that to you, that was huge.
Thanks, Josh.
And that kind of faith in your product that you were saying, we're going to do this, that enabled me to put it in more people's hands and say, you need to read this. I guarantee you at least one of the stories in here is going to appeal to you.
That was the idea. We really believe in our books, and that's why we offer a level of returnability on our first issues. And like we overshipped our Ghost Machine 1 by 100% because we wanted copies out there. We just want people to have a chance to read the books. Like that's all we care about, people just reading the books. And whether people were giving away their extra copies of Ghost Machine 1 or selling them for less or just selling them, we didn't care. We just wanted people to read them.
And that was huge. We really appreciated that.
Cool. Thanks.
So I know that we've already
exceeded your time. You guys jump whenever you need to. We don't. We do want to be respectful. Yeah.
Okay. I thought there'd be like one more question.
No, if you guys want to hang out, you're welcome to. We usually go pretty long, but if you guys need to jump, we just want to let you know we're not going to hold you hostage. You guys go when you need to go.
Well, I know it's late for Jay out in Windsor, Ontario, and
that's right. This makes us an international show now, so thank you.
It does.
Well, no, believe it or not, we have a following in Bangladesh, like 0.06%.
That is weird. We do.
So,
great. Hi, everybody.
And Brazil.
Well, Brazil makes sense. There's a huge comic book base in Brazil.
I haven't been able to get Mike Diodato Jr. to come on yet, though. I'm working on it.
Well, we really appreciate your guys' support, and thanks for having us on and checking out the books and talking to G.I. Joe.
Hey, anytime y'all want to talk G.I. Joe or comics of any kind, we are happy to do that because we absolutely love this stuff. But guys, next Wednesday, April 3rd, is Ghost Machine Day. It's an official day. It's on your calendar. If it's not, you should pencil it in. Get to your local comic shop. If you're in the North Alabama area, your local comic shop better be us. But if not, get to your local comic shop. If you don't have a local comic shop, there's a lot of places online that sell comics, and they will be more than happy to ship them to your house. But do that. And like we always tell people, if you want to read good comics, if you want good comics to continue to be made, you have to support those comics. You've got to buy them. You got to read them. You can't complain nothing's being made that you like if you don't buy what you like.
Yeah.
No, I don't do this for everybody, but I will send you out like this, Jeff, and you can jump off anytime after this.
Uh-oh.
We'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there.
Can't wait around for that.
Yeah, y'all think I didn't track that soundtrack down?
I do. Shout out to my friend who loves the Baroness.
Don't we all?
Yes.
I mean, what's not to love? She's so horrible, and yet you still can't help but like her. I like what Josh Williamson's doing with her in the Duke comic for sure.
Thanks, Troy. Oh,
hey, Troy, good to see you, man. But yeah, thank you guys so very much. Anytime y'all want to come back and talk about any other comics, G.I. Joe, toys, the weather, whatever you want, we're happy to have you. Just let us know.
Thanks so much. All right, have a good night, guys.
And we told her we would keep our mouth shut about it, but big shout out to Kat because she's awesome.
Yeah, Kat is awesome.
She did a great job. Yeah, I just want to say to everybody out there who's watching and comic fans all over the place, like we really put our heart and our souls and our love into these books, and we love the medium of comics. It's our favorite medium. That's why we keep working in it. We love it, and we want to see comics grow. We want to see comic book retailers have good business. We want them to make money. We want to support the industry, and we feel that this is our opportunity to do that, and we're really coming in hard with this, and we want to build up a fan base. So check out the books, check out the first 3, 4, 5 issues, and just get into these stories, because we really have some special stuff, I feel, brewing here, and it's going to grow over time, and this is a great opportunity to get in on that ground floor, get in with the first issues of these books, learn about these characters, and just see them grow and be a part of that. Give feedback. Rook's going to have all kinds of opportunities for some interesting characters, and I'm sure there'll be some fan requests with different animals as we go along. And so it's like we want to.
I didn't know we could make requests because.
Oh yeah, we Jay and I talk about all the we have so many characters. I don't want to spoil it because we're just getting started, but we have so many characters already lined up for this thing. It is. Rook does remind me of there's elements of Green Lantern and X-Men and like Animal Man and like Jay said, 80s kind of cool 80s. I used to love those 80s cartoons, but there's a lot of the thing I love about it is the thing about X-Men and Green Lantern, like in X-Men mutants, there's a power and a price to it all.
Mm-hmm.
And with Rook, there's being a warden, there's a price to it. And at the same time, at Green Lantern, there's a lot of emotion and kind of personal ties to the power, and everyone has a favorite animal. Everyone relates to an animal. We all have since we were kids, and this is about that, exploring that relationship and that kind of tie that these wardens have to the animals, because the helmets, these masks, don't just let you control the animals. They open up your neural pathways to these animals, a certain species, and those neural pathways are open. That means they're coming back at you. And so there's this relationship and influence on one another that's in the books. And we talk about that in issue 1, but you see that play out quite a bit.
Well, since you opened the door to request, I'll just go put mine in right now. Mainly because, like you said, everybody's got a favorite animal, right? I need a dude who's like a giant bison. Got the I can see the buffalo helmet.
Already taken care of.
I can see it. I need that in my life.
Already taken care of.
There's a helmet right there on the top.
There we go. There we go. That's what I needed. I'm set. I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for the time again. We'll
thank you.
You guys are awesome. Thank y'all so much. You guys have a great night. Everybody go out and celebrate and pick up your copies of all the Ghost Machine books on April 3rd.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Guys. Thanks everybody.
Guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Well,
that was awesome.
See, look, I was about to throw Kat on. She's lucky she signed off when she did, because I was reaching toward the mouse. She was about to get thrown on there.
For anybody wondering, Kat is the PR person for Ghost Machine who's working behind the scenes on everything. And I got to tell you, she is phenomenal. She put together a really great product for their PR packages and stuff. I just saw that there have been stuff being said in the private chat. Yeah.
Yeah, so just so y'all know, we really and truly only had them for about 30 minutes, and they ended up going for like almost an hour, which I'm never going to tell anybody to shut up. They've got to go. I'm just going to let them talk. I was enjoying it.
I was surprised that they're G.I. Joe fans. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah, that was
I mean, I
awesome.
shouldn't have been surprised, but I didn't know that going in, and I feel way cooler now. Respect level was already pretty high. Now it's even higher.
And, you know, I mean, I don't know about them. I know you'll understand this, but you know what? For whatever reason, when I first read that snippet of Rockefellers in here, you know what it reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of a cross between that cartoon that you get in Spaceship Earth at the end of it on the ride.
Yeah.
And Carousel of Progress. And I don't know why. That's just what it reminded me of.
Because it's that optimistic futurism.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what it reminded me
Yeah.
of. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to Brad Meltzer's first Ghost. I think that's going to be really cool. So, I mean, they've got a lot of books that I'm looking forward to. I can't wait till they all hit the shelves.
Well, I mean, Geiger is a proven entity, right? We've already read Geiger. We already liked Geiger. We've already read Junkyard Joe. We already liked Junkyard Joe. So we knew that was going to be great. And
see,
so
to me, Geiger poses a very interesting question, and that is, did he really and truly condemn his family to a worse death by saving them?
Maybe, but at least they got time with each other, right?
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is, was the bunker truly secured? Did it end up being a worse death by being trapped in it than if they would have just blown up in the initial explosion?
You know, that would be a horrifying thing to discover later on.
Yeah. Maybe one day he gets to come back. We'll get to talk about that.
Yeah, those are some class act dudes, I have to say. That was awesome. And I'm not lying. I'm super excited for all of these books. The artwork on Rook is just exquisite, y'all. I just flipped through it. And I wasn't able I didn't have any time to sit down and actually read these at all this afternoon. I was really hoping I was going to be able to, but I didn't. But just check out, embiggen me, will you? Just check out look at that 2-page spread.
Oh, yeah. That looks great.
Oh. Holy cow. I mean, that's just insane. Oh, there's the Buffalo dude. Yeah, okay. Already got Buffalo taken care of. And that's an awesome looking helmet. I dig it. Is that a walrus, dude? No, it's like an ant or something. That's got to be an insect. Yeah, the amount of detail he puts into these helmets, I don't know, I would think you would want to scope back on that if you're going to have to draw it over and over and over again. But he didn't. The detail is just so intense over and over. I mean, look at this 2-page spread of this destroyed city.
Yeah, I'm really. Oh, we got like all sorts of comments popping in over here. And let's see what we got going on from Richard Early. Hey guys, awesome interview. And I was reading Rook while y'all were talking. It is fantastic. Yeah, what I've actually got to read of it is really good. I like it.
Richard, how you doing, man? Richard is, if you remember, we talked to him a couple months ago. He owns Paradox up in Fargo, North Dakota. Awesome dude, awesome store, and he's in the process. They're about to move to a bigger location.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah.
Who's this?
Pretty. Who is that?
Oh no.
God, he looks familiar.
These spam accounts are getting on my nerves.
Goodness. Hey, Richard, I tell you, do you want me to send you a link? Do you want to come on here? And if you want to, you can come on here. We can talk some comics a little bit. Just let me know. We'll pop you on over here. We'll talk some comics. But yeah, those Jason FABOK and Jeff Johns, absolutely a class act. Really enjoyed getting to talk with them, and I feel the thing I guess that came through for me really was this is a passion project for them. This is their livelihood, yeah, but they're excited about the concepts and the fact that they are spending the money on the quality of the books. It goes back to, like Troy said, we're talking Disney now, but it goes back to what Walt Disney said, right? Quality will out. People know quality when they see it. Have a good one, Troy. It's great to see you, man. Been a long time. Hope everything's going well. There you go, Zach. You can still hang out and talk with us, though. It's all good. I guarantee you, Zach, you're going to want to read this. You're going to have to read this. I don't know if you're already reading Geiger. If you're not, you should be. But this one, you're also definitely going to want to read.
See, Redcoat, it just looks cool. I mean, that's just going to look good on the shelf, period.
Redcoat, and I'm telling you, the fact, because I was wondering who the kid was, the fact that that's like a young Albert Einstein is great. But yeah, Annie Oakley fighting Wendigos? Are you serious? This is fantastic. And actually, the Wendigo picture is kind of like she's kind of shooting past that one Wendigo, but that's Davy Crockett is in the Wolverine position. Fighting Wendigo there, right? Fighting the Hulk. Yeah, that's super fun. I'm excited.
Now, wait a minute.
That.
Hold that back up for a second. Just to the side of Davy Crockett, is that Annie Oakley again? Also, just a different shot of, or is that up top?
I know. I'm saying I don't think so, because you look at her and you look at her.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't think that's Annie Oakley, but it might be. Again, it seems weird to have her on there twice. But maybe.
I like that they're picking random people out of history for that. I think that
could be Calamity Jane. We don't know.
I mean, just the fact that you're picking random people out of history, I think that's really cool, because that even opens up even more doors. As far as the story itself is concerned. But I know in the Ghost Machine one shot, they do give it's not a timeline, it's more like a introduction of characters, and it tells
But there is a timeline.
Yeah, there is a timeline. Oh, here it is. We've got Benedict Arnold is immortal.
Yep.
Then we have the young Einstein, Davy Crockett, the Northerner, Annie Oakley, and then Simon Pure.
Who is the Redcoat?
Yeah, who is the Redcoat? Those are who it actually talks about in the one shot. So that it's only a matter of time before we'll get more. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Redcoat.
And yeah, Tom, you heard me say earlier, we're doing 23% off as a birthday thing for all the Ghost Machine titles for our subscribers. Remember that on Wednesday. I'll make up a thing and post it to Facebook here shortly. But I don't want us to forget that, because that's something fun. That's how we celebrate. Boom, boom, boom. Can you believe 23 years Haven has been open this coming Tuesday? 23 years.
I responded to your email the other day. That list that you put together.
Yeah.
I cannot get over the guests that we've had, and it seems like it just keeps getting bigger and big. For the people that make it this far into the video, thank you for sticking with mine and Josh's ramblings.
Yeah.
But for the past year and a half now at this point, thank y'all for watching this show, because if y'all, we don't have a lot of people watch it live. Our views come after the fact. But if y'all had been watching this show in the past, Josh and I wouldn't still be doing it. And we damn sure wouldn't have had JOHNS and FABOK on tonight. You know, it's been kind of wild, to be honest with you.
Or the likes of James Robinson and John Ostrander and Tony Harris and Jim Valentino and Kyle Higgins. Brian Haberlin. We've
Yeah,
had,
that list that you sent me, I was looking at it and I was like, wow, we really did this.
and before that, I mean, back during COVID, when COVID first hit and things got shut down and everything, during the weekend that would have been the expo weekend, we did a Heroes at Home convention, and I was online doing interviews with folks like Tom Brevoort. Tom Brevoort and I talked for 3 hours.
Oh, did you see that last message I sent her in the private chat?
No.
You might want to check that out.
All right.
Maybe it'll help one day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to talk to some of the other guys like Ivan Rice and Peter Tomasi and some of those. I would love to talk to those guys.
I would actually like to have Brad Meltzer and talk to him.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, he's written tons of novels.
Great books, too.
And
yeah.
I would love to hear his thoughts on how that skill set translates over from novels to comic books.
I imagine you just have to think a little bit differently, and where you would have tried to describe something, you let the artist do it.
Because, I mean, as a novelist, all the description is on you.
Yep.
But as a comic book writer, you don't have to go to that level. I mean, you have to rely on your artist at the same time. I just think that would be an interesting conversation.
Oh, I have no doubt. No, I'd love to have Brad Meltzer on here. Honestly, the roster of creators they have there, I'd be happy to talk to any of them. Just phenomenal guys. Really, really impressive. And I really want that company to succeed. I think they've got all the right things in place to succeed. I hope that their stories connect with audiences, because that's the one thing you can't really predict, is how is something going to actually connect with people. I can tell you I'm excited for their stuff. I hope other folks are too. And like I said, if Haven is your local comic shop, that's awesome, and we are really happy about that. If we're not, and you've got an LCS near you, go there and get these books. Pick them up. Support awesome people doing great work. That's the best way that we get more people doing great work.
I kind of don't know what to do now.
I kind of with you a little bit. But that said.
So, okay, but Ghost Machine Day, it's literally just those 3 books coming out, correct?
Yep, that's the first wave of books from Ghost Machine. It's those
Do
3.
we have release dates for any of the others yet?
Not hard release dates. I don't think. I'd have to go back and look. That's certainly the big one.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to do this in a while.
Let's do it and see what's coming out.
The new previews. Let me grab the new Marvel and DC. Because there's definitely some interesting things coming out there. For example, from DC, they made the announcement not too long ago that Elseworlds is back.
Yep.
The first Elseworlds branded book is Gotham by Gaslight. It's a sequel. It's Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age.
So what do you think about when they come back years later and do a sequel to something that was that caliber to begin with?
I think it's really... it better be good. Because if it's not good, it will always suffer by comparison. Hey, Richard says to hit him up. So I'm going to shoot Richard a link to pop on and join us.
All right.
We'll get some shop talk going on with multiple shops. I dig it. Copy. I'm in the process of getting this ready to send to you, Richard. Hang on a minute. All right, Richard, I just sent it to you on Facebook. So that's awesome. Anywho, I think if you're going to do a sequel and you're not the original creator, and you're going to do a sequel to something like Gotham by Gaslight, it better be good, because otherwise it will always suffer by comparison, right?
Ooh,
that's
Feral came out this week also.
What did?
Feral?
Yes, that's right. Feral #1 came out this week too. Let's see. Here are the books that they're telling us are coming out from Elseworlds. June 2024 is Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age. July 2024 is Dark Knights of Steel, All Winter #1. Don't know what that is, but it sounds good. Dark Knights of Steel was a really good book. DC versus Vampires, World War V, #1.
The
Batman the Barbarian is in September. Batman the Barbarian.
DC versus Vampires was a really good story.
Well, yeah, it was. Look who wrote it. And then November, October is Green Lantern Dark, which sounds cool. And then in November is Batman Nightfire.
Oh, are you reading Eden Frost?
I'm a little bit behind on it, but yeah.
I'm going to tell you what, issue 3 of Eden Frost was so friggin' good. Issue 4 comes out this week.
All right, let me ask you what you think about this, because I find it interesting that these are both in the DC previews and not in the Marvel one. Like, you'd think that one would get one and one would get the other. DC versus Marvel, the old stuff.
Yep.
Is being reprinted in a huge omnibus format.
Okay.
So on the one hand, awesome, the old stuff is being reprinted. We can have access to it again. On the other hand, it's a giant omnibus, $120, $125, $150, whatever it is. That's a steep price tag and a 40-pound book to read the old Marvel DC stuff. So what do you think about that? Also, that's one of them. And the other one is all the amalgam stuff is being printed in an omnibus.
You're going to have some people that are definitely going to buy it. You'll probably have some people buy it simply because it is an omnibus. But at the same time, I feel like they're missing a bigger opportunity by not printing it in either trade format or going back to the individual issues. Because you would have had a lot of people buy that just to read it that never got to read it the first time around.
Everybody, we have another special guest on. Richard.
What's up?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
What's happening, man?
Great interview. That was awesome.
Those
so
dudes were so great to talk to. What class acts, both of them?
Pardon me. I'm literally stretched out in bed reading. I did the same thing you did. I mean, I got Rook, Geiger, and the other one.
Redcoat, yeah.
Redcoat. And I was like, I'm going to listen to the podcast and read these things. So
I think you said you've already read Rook.
Yeah, I was reading Rook while you guys were talking. It was just kind of funny to listen to Jason talking about it while reading pages about things that he was literally saying. So that was kind of fun. So
it's kind of like watching the movie with the director's commentary.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, that was really cool. Like the biggest thing I was going to say is earlier, you made that joke about people asking you if you were nervous. I was one of those people, and you nailed it though. You said just ask, and like I remember last year, like Chris Claremont's wife, that was the whole key to she said, the secret is just ask, and
Yep.
So you absolutely nailed the secret to the universe is not 42. It's just ask. So.
Yeah, I tried to make up the other day because I find myself trying to list off like who all have we had on the show, and I keep I know I'm dropping a name here, I'm forgetting somebody there, And so I went through and just did a quick kind of chronology in reverse order of who all we've had on the show. And we have talked to some amazing creators. I mean, holy smokes.
You really have. Yep.
Awesome
Yep.
dudes.
Yep.
John Ostrander was fantastic. He was great. I mean, heck, we had Katie Cook and Andy Price on a couple of weeks ago, and they were just spectacular.
One of the keys, though, is that you keep doing it. You know, like there's, you know, when people ask me, like, how did you keep a business open for that long? And it's like, well, here's the thing: whether you like it or not, if the sign says you're open at 10 a.m., you're open at 10 a.m. You know, I don't care about your doctor's appointment or whatever. You know, that's the way it is. You know, so you just keep making content. It's great.
Yeah, it's we're enjoying the heck out of it. It's a lot of fun.
From my understanding, Bill, yes.
What's the question? Yes, that is correct. Separate company, uses Image as a publisher, kind of printer, as it were. But yeah, they create and own all their own content, and it's their own world, universe, all that stuff. And I got to tell you, between Skybound with what they're doing with Transformers, G.I. Joe, Void Rivals, I think we have more subscribers right now. I believe I'd have to go check the numbers, but I believe Void Rivals is currently our most subscribed book out of everything.
Really?
Transformers is second, and G.I. Joe is, I think, fourth or fifth. Fantastic Four is third, and then Batman and G.I. Joe. Actually, G.I. Joe's got more than Batman now. Well, we just had a couple people drop Batman.
See, all I heard is that people are listening to us.
That's right.
Have you seen? We have a wave of people coming in who have never bought comics before.
Yes.
And it is pronounced, and it started. I'm convinced it started actually in November and December, but it really took off around Ultimate Spider-Man #1.
Yes, very much so.
And I don't know what exactly happened that hook attached itself, you know, but it's a real thing right now.
It absolutely is. We're seeing the same thing down here. The number of folks who are walking in, and this is something that has been a real nice surprise for us. Not a surprise necessarily, but it's been really gratifying, is we have had a fairly substantial number of people coming in with a kid, and it's that kid's first time in a comic book store, and that kid is so excited to be there. We've got a lot of adults coming in buying stuff too, but we've got people bringing in their kids. We had a young lady come in 2 Saturdays ago, I think. Might have been 3 at this point, but I think it was 2. I thought she was like a comic fan from way back. She was 13 or 14 years old, and she came in. She went to the shelves. She knew exactly what she was looking for, which is not the sign of a newbie, right? Knew exactly what she was looking for. She wanted the Flash. And so we looked around and we were trying to find the right thing, but turned out she had never been in a comic shop before in her life. She's there with her mom and dad and her little sister, and she's so excited. And so when she's asking questions about Flash and I'm starting to explain different storylines to her, and this, she's just like getting visibly amped up, right? And she is so pumped. And I told her, we have a policy. I don't know if you guys do anything similar, but we have a policy. When a little kid comes into our shop for the first time, they've never been to a comic book store before, they get a free comic book. But they have to pick it out themselves. The parents can't do it for them. It's got to be one that they want to read, and they get to pick it out for themselves. Now, very rarely do I have to tell somebody, no, that does not include the $200 comic up on the wall. But this girl, I said, you know what? She's older than our normal for that. But I said, you know what? She's so excited, and I'm just going to extend this to her. So she goes straight back to our Silver Age books. And I'm like, oh, no. And she thumbs through it, and she picks out a $5 Flash book out of our Silver Age stack there. And she's like, "Is this one okay?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
You take that $5 flashback issue and you are going to love that. And that's going to be the best. And she was so pumped. They ended up buying tickets for the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, which is coming up here in a couple of weeks, which we are super excited about. And now they're coming back to the store on a regular basis. The guy that you know, Alan, who comes in with his 2 little kids, they've been coming in pretty regularly, most Saturdays.
I can actually tell you that the other day his kids even had him trying to come by there on a day that y'all are closed. They were on spring. His daughter was on spring break, and they were ready to go to the comic book store. And,
that's awesome.
They were out running errands, and they went by the comic book store, and he was like, "And I didn't realize they were closed on Tuesdays."
Well, we're gonna have to get her. Once she gets through all the Dogman books, we're going to have to find something else for her to graduate to.
I told him that he really needs to pick up Nothing Special for her.
Oh, yeah.
I think
actually, I have to reorder that. I'm sold out.
Really?
We sold out of that. I don't know if are you real familiar with Katie Cook and what she's been doing lately, Richard?
No.
Because she did My Little Pony there for a long time, but she's been doing a webtoon series for the longest time called Nothing Special, and she got a book deal, and it's put out through Penguin Random House, so you can get it through there on a good deal, and it's called Nothing Special. It comes out in hardcover and in softcover, so you can go either way. I will say the production values on that are spectacular. It's a high quality printed product. But if you have anybody who was fans of My Little Pony and that kind of whimsical, kind of fun, meant for a younger audience, if you've got anybody at your shop who likes that kind of thing or has kids that would like that, that's what this is. But it's also layered. It has stuff in there for everybody. It's got stuff in there for adults. Humor that the kids would never get. They would never get it at all. But there's sarcasm in there. I mean, there's this whole thing she's got. It's like a book. It's called Dissin, like as in like dissing somebody. It's called Dysentery, and it's got a picture of a wagon on the front, and it's like the Oregon Trail from the 80s when you were a kid, right? And all the stuff in the side, like little marginalia and things sticking out, like wagon tongue. Not what I thought, stuff like that. Which as a kid would never find anything funny about that, but as an adult, we're like, okay, that's funny. But that I sold 5 hard copies and 5 softback paperback copies in 3 days.
Holy cow! Yep.
And that's not normal for us at all for a book like that. And so I've got to reorder more of those because it's just really good quality stuff, and it's funny and it's lighthearted and it's appropriate for kids.
Now, Richard, just out of curiosity, it's your shop. Have you seen a lot of people signing up for Ghost Machine stuff, or do you have a lot of people signed up for Geiger?
I don't want to be, I'm always hesitant because I don't want to be anything but positive. But I will say, I'm going to say yes. But I'm going to say there's been a teeny bit of teeth pulling, like Ultimate Spider-Man, there's no teeth pulling. It's just, run in the door, grab it, so on and so forth. Right. But we have found Ghost Machine to be a bit harder sell. Now we have been giving out the one shot for free to potentially interested people. We hesitated because we sold it when it first came out. And so I kind of, don't like to do that to my loyal customers who've already bought it. But I think
you don't want them to
that's
feel
what
like
it's
they got a
there
raw
for.
deal, right?
Right. Yep. But I think they understand if we can use it to add comic customers, like I think we understand. I don't sense an electricity about the books yet. That doesn't mean that won't happen, next Wednesday, and like having read Rook, I mean, people got to read this. This is amazing. This is a really good comic. So, I'm optimistic about the quality carrying the day. But well, how about you guys? What's your enthusiasm level?
I think we've kind of been in a similar boat. We've got a small group of folks who are like, "Yep, we're signed up for all these books," and a bunch of others who are on the fence. I think they want somebody to prove it to them, right? Like, I want to be sure,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably because it's all new stuff, right? It's a new world, it's new universes. They don't have anything to really sink their teeth into. Well, I know what this is because it's in the Batman universe, or I know what this is because it's in the GI Joe universe. So it's fresh and it's new, and you kind of have to take a little bit of a leap of faith. And I think that when people are able to put it in their hands, that they're going to do that. Once they get to see it, the quality of these. I mean, you've got one in your hands. You tell me. I mean, the paper, the printing, the cover stock, the quality is all top notch.
Yeah, and they invested in this first issue because they're $3.99, and forgive me, I think it's a 48-page comic.
Right, it's not a small book.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know the page count, but yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I want to believe. I ordered a lot because I'm going to believe in Jeff Johns
For sure.
and the rest of the team. But it's hard to not have faith. It's nice right now. You talked about this earlier with Void Rivals and Transformers, but all of a sudden, I mean, 6 months ago, every retailer forum, every conversation is, oh, we're in trouble, things are terrible. But this always happens. Every time things get to that dire point, all of a sudden something changes. And it started last summer with Void Rivals,
Yep.
and then it hit Transformers, and then it hit the Ultimate books, and the Turtles were already hot with Last Ronin, so like something's happening, there's and you can't manufacture it, and you can't predict it, and you don't know exactly what it's going to be. So,
no, I 100% agree with that. When you said that, I was like, and then a hero comes along,
yeah,
strength to carry on. That's what I was hearing. It was like, you're absolutely right. Yeah, everything starts to look really dire, and then that one book comes out that gets everyone's attention, and then they pick that one up, and then they look and they go, well, that looks pretty cool too. And next thing you know, they got 2 or 3 books they like, and then, well, that one looks pretty cool too. And so you start to build that readership back up. And the thing I'm most happy about and most excited about is it's building up readership, right? These are people who are reading the books, not just collecting the covers.
Especially these new people.
Covers. If that's your thing, good for you. But I get comics because I didn't want just baseball cards, right? I wanted the comics. I wanted the stories. But
these new readers, or these new people who are coming in, that's what they are. They're all readers. They're saying, like, I've seen every movie, I've watched every show, I'm ready to get the comics. And I get a guy devouring graphic novels. He's reading classic graphic novels at a rate. He'll have read, the entire top 100 graphic novels of all time in a month. It's just insane.
Holy smokes.
How he's plowing through stuff.
Voracious reader.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But no, I have noticed that there's certainly been an uptick. There's been a level of excitement, and the fact that they are readers is really gratifying to me, and that makes me really happy because they're there for the stories, and those are the people who come back and want to talk about the stories. And then you get those water cooler conversations, and then you get more people walk in and they overhear you talking about the story, and they're like, "What is this? That sounds cool," and then they want to pick it up. No, I really dig that.
One of the things I always pitch whenever I talk to publishers, I haven't been a comics pro for about 4 years now, but so the biggest thing that happened in our industries in the last 20 years, without a doubt, is the WPN, the Wizards Play Network, and I know a lot of people are going to hate this. Retailers absolutely hate this when I say this, but before the WPN came along, there were about 2,000 shops selling Magic the Gathering. And after the WPN, there were at least 6,000 shops selling Magic the Gathering. The point is, what you're saying is absolutely true. They found a way to put Magic booster packs and cards everywhere anywhere you looked, they were all over the place, and they did it in a certain way, but it hit the water cooler talk. You know, everybody's apartment had a game of Magic going on, or a friend who played Magic, or things like that. And comics have not tapped into that. Comics for several years have leaned into the biggest sellers in the marketplace rather than trying to raise all boats. Rather than trying to get those comics everywhere, we shrunk down to where the big online sellers were the people who the publishers were most interested in. 3,000 copies in order to get a variant cover of your own, things like that. Those are not programs that are friendly to you or me. And raise all our boats, which is a great old saying. But there's an organicness to what is happening right now.
Oh, Blue Hellion. I don't know what Josh you're talking about. Pretty sure that ain't me. If it is me, you are a very kind man, and you might want to get your eyes checked because, wow. I'm just glad I got a haircut finally, because that's been a long time coming, and it was driving me insane.
And I'm going to tell everybody that you got your haircut just for Jeff Johns.
You're not wrong.
So
I didn't want him to look at me and think, is that the guy from The Simpsons?
I mean, I literally, like a guy that I work with, Richard, he literally, I don't know why, he just randomly, I think his daughter loves Dogman. And he asked me one day if Haven had that stuff. And I said, yeah, I think they do, but it's not one of those that I go looking for. So you'd have to stop by there and check them out. And he, lives not 5 minutes from my house. So he went by there one day and his kids absolutely fell in love with the shop.
Which is hilarious because you wouldn't know that if you saw him in there.
Yeah, they love
his little boy is what, 2 maybe?
Yeah, he's 2.
And he hangs by his leg, hanging on to him, and he looks absolutely terrified. If anybody looks at him, he just looks terrified. And the little girl is like she's getting a little braver and a little bolder, but. Yeah, no, they came in and they bought a couple of things. They bought a Dogman book and some other little comic. But they've been back 4 or 5 times since they first came in 5-6 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I know he picked up, I think, a Star Wars book, and he read it. And then because that, like a few days later at work, he was like, man, I had no idea what was going on. So I was having to explain to him about numbering and all that stuff and what to do. So I'm going to tell him, hey, if you're wanting to check something out, pick up Redcoat or pick up Rook, and just kind of see how it goes from there if he's wanting to start something from the beginning. But I mean, I'm excited that we've got a new company with really and truly good-looking product coming out. It feels fresh when you read it in the one shot. So, I mean, my thing is I plan on going to the shop because I normally go on Fridays. Yeah. I'm going to go Wednesday to make sure I've got those books read by Thursday so we can sit down and give an honest review next Thursday night of all 3 books.
Yep.
And maybe that'll help people that it's on the fence.
That's true. And also, you just want that 23% off. I know you.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Happy anniversary. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, 23 years. We opened up on April 2nd because we didn't want people to think that it was a joke. We would have opened on April 1st, but we're like, no, people will think we're joking if we make that announcement. So we opened on April 2nd. It's pretty cool. Now, speaking of stores with big news, you've got some big news, man. This location y'all are moving to, that looks pretty spiffy.
Well, it's kind of funny. So right now it's a Mexican restaurant, remnants of it that was opened in 1970, and up here. So right now our population is like 230,000 between our cities. But we've hit that point where, there are tons of, locally owned restaurants and more chains than ever and things like that. But, when we were growing up, Mexican Village and a couple other places, these were This is like a historic location in Fargo, North Dakota. It's just one of those things where people had their birthday parties and their grandma went there and they had their graduation dinners, and it's
El
very
Palacio
generational
of Fargo is what I'm hearing, Alan.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but and so like it's when the opportunity came up last summer, we were just like, what? No, like that doesn't make any sense. We can't afford that place, and that's relatively true. It is going to be a very expensive leap for us for sure, but the owner of the building literally just happens to be, and here's the old who you know thing, right? That happens. He is the brother of one of my 30-year comic customers. I've got this guy.
Oh, wow.
I've got this guy, Joey. Joey buys DC all. He buys absolutely everything from DC, does not need a catalog, order everything. He prepays, and he's done this since the beginning of time. But,
That's a phenomenal customer right there.
Oh, we love Joey. I wish we could clone 100 of him and, we'd be retired. Well, I wouldn't retire because it's too much fun.
Right.
But yeah, his brother just happens to own this building, and I went and met him. He's an architect and a big developer in town, but he's different than any rich guy I've ever met. I mean, he's just the most humble, down to earth dude I could possibly imagine, and he loves his brother, and he loves to convert old things into he loves to make them better. And so when it comes to a building like this, he doesn't want to tear this building down. He wants to reinvent it, and he loves to give people like me, he loves a chance to grow and to be more than we are, and so he just got heavily invested in us getting in there. And so I almost walk, I'm ready to like walk out of the first meeting because it's this 8,300 square foot building, and you're talking about the per square foot cost and all these things. But he stuck with it, and yeah, I mean, he just eventually kind of made it an offer we just couldn't really turn down.
So what square footage do you have now that you're moving up to?
So what we use for display between retail and tables is about 3,000 square feet, give or take. So, but we're in two different spaces. We've got retail and event center are split up, both approximately 1,500 square foot, let's say, right? The main thing we're going to occupy was we're going to have our retail and our gaming all under one roof, and it's going to be a gigantic, like 5,200 square foot rectangle. So that's not double in and of itself, but yeah. And then we've got to squeeze in, bathroom storage and all that. And we're partnering into the building, and they're taking about a quarter of the building is a record store that's been around since 2007.
Dude,
they're already neighbors of ours.
Next to a comic shop. That is Nirvana.
Yep.
No,
it's going to be amazing. No, it's going to be amazing. And we've got this huge parking lot, and we both love to brainstorm stuff. And so we've got all kinds of like crazy ideas brewing, from record shows to.
Oh man! If he can do the soundtrack for your free comic book day.
Yeah.
Oh, how great is that?
What? No, think about this. So Record Store Day is like the second to the last Saturday in April, and then FCBD is the first Saturday in May. Yeah, so starting in 2025, that's our thing, is like, how do we make this, like, starting with that and ending with the other thing, how do we make that like just this 2-week like analog celebration, party for like 14 days or whatever it is, So.
Alan, what was the comic that came out?
Black Tape?
No, well, Black Tape was amazing.
Furthest place from here, that's not the right name.
Specifically, one that's set in a record store. Deadbeats.
Yes.
Deadbeats. It's a comic that was specifically set in a record store, like a haunted record store. There's a story behind every album in there, and they're not all good stories. It was Deadbeats. It was pretty cool. If you get a chance, that might be a good crossover product to have for your record guys. Justin, if you want to catch Jeff Johns and Jason FABOK, you got to go back and watch the beginning of the show, bro.
I read that comment, and I'm wondering if he's actually watching it now. and he doesn't realize that we're like well beyond that.
That could be. That could be. But no, that's an awesome move to. That sounds like a great move to an awesome space with a cool complementary business next door. I'm super excited for you, man. That's really great.
The owner is putting a lot of money in. I mean, he's got to basically put probably upwards of $1 million into the it's estimated at about 850,000, but he knows he's going to cost overrun that, and we're not doing that, but then we've got to, then our risk is the very high, monthly expense costs. So that's where like things, I mean, I'm pretty optimistic, but you know how things are, in good times, probably not a big deal. In bad times, what are you going to do? So, but I don't know, it just, I could not pass. I couldn't pass, all the things that kind of came together just were so serendipitous, it was just not something like if I'd have said no to this, what am I ever going to say yes to is really what it comes down to. Right. So,
well, yeah, it sounds like the stars aligned pretty well for you.
Yep, fear is nasty, but I mean, life is short. You got to have some fun, and this has already been a lot of fun. So,
well, that's a true statement. I'm excited for you. I think that's awesome. I tell you what, you may not know this about me, but I'm a big fan of Buffalo, and I've never been to the North or South Dakota. I've always wanted to get up there. And been talking to my wife about planning a trip to go up that way, get into the Badlands, do some of that stuff. And I can't go up there without stopping by Fargo and my favorite comic shop there. So I will definitely, when we make that happen, I'm going to come by and see you.
Well, we can. So Jamestown, North Dakota, which is 75 miles west of here, is famous for the Buffalo Museum. And there's a giant plastic buffalo outside, and there's a museum and all kinds of cool stuff. And so, we'd have to get you over there.
Do they sell buffalo chips?
Yeah, there's a lot of restaurants around. I'm sure that they do.
Not sure I would want to eat those, but
yeah,
maybe start a fire with them. That's fantastic. God, that's so great. I'm really excited for you. I'm glad that you guys are experiencing the same kind of thing we are with new readers coming in, though. That's between the two of us, we got the North and the South covered, not so much the East and the West. Now, do you know Rob Young, who runs Borderlands Comics and Games in Greenville, South Carolina?
I may know of him, but I don't know him. Nope.
That's a guy you should get to know. He is awesome. Absolutely awesome guy. Runs a heck of a store. He runs a great show too, South Carolina Comic-Con, which I think is coming up on April 6th, 7th, something like that. He's got Jim Lee coming to the show this year.
Oh, nice.
Jim Lee.
We had a couple. We had a couple of the local cons I'm not really involved with lately for a couple of reasons, but although I'm getting back involved with them, but they just brought in there's an event called ValleyCon, and it's going to turn 50 years old in 2025. It's been run consecutively. Wow. But they last year had Sean Gordon Murphy came up with.
Oh man.
He's a huge, Aaron Paul, or not Aaron Paul. Sorry. Oh my goodness. The Highlander TV series. I just blanked on his name, for crying out loud. Oh man. Well, anyway, that Adrian Paul. There we go. Yeah, Adrian Paul. Yep. He came up, but like apparently Sean Gordon Murphy is like a huge Adrian Paul fan, so he sort of like wanted to come really badly. So he came up, and then and Sean, we provided graphic novels for Sean through his agents so that they just could travel light. They didn't want to haul stuff, so we worked out a good deal. And then Sean came to the store. And while we were talking, he also went around and signed everything in the store that was his. Yeah, so that was really cool. And so then we had Chris Claremont, then Sean Gordon Murphy came, And then just 2 weeks ago, no, it's been a month now. Man, time flies. We had another comic legend come through as well. Good grief, me and names are falling apart all of a sudden. Roy Thomas
Oh,
was
wow.
here as well. Yeah, exactly. So
We had him down here
kind
at the expo last year.
yeah. So
There's a Rockefeller shirt, Josh.
Yeah, I saw that. I love it. We're gonna have to talk to them about their sizing.
They got a 5X.
I see it, but a 5X, depending on who makes it, that doesn't mean it's going to fit, right? But I tell you, one time, this is tell you several years ago, we lost one of our employees, one of our guys who worked the shop on Fridays and Sundays. Just one of the best human beings you could ever hope to meet in your life. Alex. He had a massive stroke at the age of 45, and we lost him.
Terrible.
It was absolutely heartbreaking. But one day he called me up and he goes, hey, we just had a guy come in the store, and he says that he's Mike Grell. And I'm like, okay. That doesn't surprise me because he has he splits his time between, it's either Michigan or Wisconsin, and down here at Smith Lake, which is a couple hours south of us. And I was like, okay. And he was looking for Shaman's Tears #1. And I said, well, I tell you, I've got a stack of Shaman's Tears pulled aside, because that's one I like to recommend to people looking for a certain thing. And I love that book. So I said, here's where it is. He goes, okay. So he went and got it, and he pulls this whole stack of Shaman's Tears books out. And when I came back to the shop, he had signed every one of them. And that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's good people, because they don't need, when people do something they don't need to do, that's tells you something. So
did I tell you the story of my tablecloth?
No, I don't think so.
All right, I'll try and keep it short, because some of these folks have heard it before. But at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, that was year 2, was the first year that it moved to the Von Braun Center, North Hall, and that was the first year that we had any comic book guests, or any guests at all. And we had Chris Claremont and Mike Grell. Pretty awesome. Well,
very awesome.
My booth was right next to Mike Grell. And we did terribly. We did absolutely awful. We made no money at all at this show. That was my fault. I brought the wrong things. I thought I was going to be clever and bring something different from what all the other comic guys were, and it was stupid. I should have just brought my comics. But I had a great time anyway, because my booth was right next to Mike Grell. So I'm talking with him the whole time, and I'm looking over his shoulder, and it was great. Super cool guy. But when he first got there, before the show opened, I was talking to him, and I said, you've got one of the cooler signatures out of anybody. Really love it. How did you come up with that? And he grabs a Sharpie, and the tablecloths, the tables all had these plasticized tablecloths stretched super tight across them.
Sure.
And he takes his Sharpie and he just starts drawing on the tablecloth. And he writes Mike Grell in block letters. And he goes, that's what my signature used to look like. And I had a friend tell me, like, dude, you're an artist. That's crap. You need something better. And he's like, well, what am I going to do that's better? And he goes, I don't know. Add some other lines and stuff to it. He goes, what, like this? And the guy goes, yeah, like that. And that's been his signature ever since. And I told him, I said, when this show is over, if that tablecloth is still here, I'm coming over here and taking it. And he's like, ha ha, funny stuff, right? Well, a couple days later, the show's over. Everybody's packing up. He's walking out the door, and I'm hustling out from around my booth and coming around to his booth to get that tablecloth. And he comes back in for whatever reason. I don't know if you want to check, make sure he hadn't forgotten anything, but he comes back in and he goes, were you serious about that tablecloth? And I said, yeah, I was dead serious. And he goes, okay. So he grabs a Sharpie out and he draws that kind of profile view of Green Arrow that he does, right?
Sure.
Just boom, 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 real big right next to his signature. Well, ever since, every single show that we do, I bring that tablecloth out and I get it signed or drawn on by every comic book guest that we have.
Awesome.
So I've got stuff on there now from Ron Friends, Tom DeFalco, Roy Thomas, Arthur Suydam, Jim Shooter, Stephen Butler, Tone Rodriguez. God, who all else? There's so many. What's the guy who did Venom? The Sam De La Rosa.
Oh, okay.
Mark Bagley, Fabian Nicieza, Mike Zeck, Joe Roop. This incredible on a stupid tablecloth. It's ridiculous. And it's also enormous. It's huge. It's going to be decades before that thing is full. But I bring that out every year, and so I'm going to be bringing that out again here in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to get a few more added to it. And one day, just giving it, because it's really long and narrow, it's the perfect kind of banner to hang across the wall at the store above the new comics, that kind of thing. So I'm going to put that sucker up on the wall. But yeah, I have a tablecloth. It's probably the most autographed and signed and drawn upon tablecloth in the history of any tablecloth outside of a restaurant that has crayons at the table.
Speaking of Tone Rodriguez, I'm really into Feral, and just think the world of Stray Dogs and now of Feral. So,
well, we had Tony Fleeks on a couple of weeks ago, and that was awesome. He was really cool.
Yeah.
We went into it to talk about Feral, really, but the book I got really excited about, because I already had some level of excitement for Feral, but the book I got really excited about was Uncanny Valley.
Sure.
That just sounded so cool, and it looked like so much fun. And David Walker was doing such great art with all the different styles and everything. I was really excited about that. It might be stupid, and if I'm honest, it probably is. But you saw that email about the 20 copy deal?
Yeah. Yep.
I decided to pull the trigger on it. That's a lot more copies than I think that we would normally sell. But I think I want to support Tony Fleeks, and I'm going to roll the dice on it, and I'm going to do it, and see if we can't make a go of it.
I put a lot of personal capital into Local Man, but I can't get that book to sell as well as I think it should, even though I think that book is really good. So,
anybody who loves the 90s and the comics in the 90s, Local Man is like a love letter to 90s comics.
It is. It is, but on top of it, like, it's its own thing. It's good at its own thing too. So
yes. Hey, Bianca.
All right. I surprised my wife by jumping on this. So actually should split here. So
well, much appreciated, sir. Thank you so very much for jumping on and talking with us.
We're watching our way through Resident Alien, and we get limited time, so we should go watch an episode before bed. So.
Yeah, it's hard not to root for your favorite Resident Alien there.
Isn't Harry something?
Indeed.
So,
Indeed.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I just wanted, I just intended to say that, Rook is really good. My secret is that I thought the Ghost Machine one shot was put together spectacularly. I thought that was just a really good book. I did have some trouble selling it, but Rook was a book I was really looking forward to, and I didn't love the Rook content in the one shot, and I don't know. I thought there was just a lot of premise to explain. And looking back, I think they did a smart thing. They just sort of told a little story in that world and gave you a glimpse, but it didn't resonate with me. But boy, Rook #1, totally different. Everything you need is there. The story is built out from the beginning. It's just fantastic. Very good. So.
Well, I'm excited to dive in and read it. I've only had a chance to flip through it really quickly, but I'm excited to read it tonight.
Oh. Cool. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Great show. Great interview. Just ask. Very good.
All right. Well, have a great night, Richard. Thanks so much.
You
We'll
too.
see you.
And we got Bianca for a few minutes, so I'm excited about that. We get to see her in a couple of weeks, so that's super awesome.
So, Bianca, if you're still on, oh crap. We literally started the show with Jeff Johns and Jason FABOK. Then we had Richard early on. He has his own show in his own show. He has his own store in Fargo, North Dakota. So here's an offer. Do you want to jump on for the last couple of minutes and say hi to everybody?
If you do, we'll send you a link. You can pop on. It'd be awesome.
Yep. But as far as Feral is concerned, what you could do is take it and put a few. How many people did you have sign up?
You mean
for
Uncanny Valley?
Well, I thought. Which one would you say you ordered like 20 copies of?
Uncanny Valley.
Oh, I would take it and put it in the people's boxes that you think would enjoy it.
I might just do that.
I think it's one of those quirky books that Tots would like.
Oh, I think Tots would love it.
I think Nick would like it too because it seems like it's going to be something.
He doesn't buy comics.
Well, yeah, good point. Nick doesn't buy comics. I want to read it.
That's true.
Bianca, you can do emojis all you want. All you gotta do is just jump on and say hi.
Yeah, I'm gonna send her a link. So if she decides she can, and if she doesn't want to, then she doesn't have to. But if she decides she wants to, it's there.
No pressure.
No.
Yeah, I think Uncanny Valley has got the potential just to be that quirky, fun summer book that we're looking for.
I hope so.
Nick, omnibuy do not count. We're not trying to kill. Nick, I think you would like Uncanny Valley. Believe it or not, the way it's coming across so far, I think you would actually be able to read it to your daughter.
It's certainly intended for that.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that y'all would really enjoy reading Nothing Special together. It's like a bedtime story. Yes, it is a bigger book, and it is a webtoon series, but it's come out in print now. So yeah, I would definitely pick that up if I was you. That would be a good one to read to her. I actually picked Bug up the hardback of it, so she'd have a nice little collector's edition.
Y'all are trying to kill me. We are not trying to kill you, Bianca. We just think you're awesome, and we like talking, and we want to see what artwork you've been doing lately, and hear about the cool stuff you've been doing, your worldly travels, all the jazz.
You can literally take 5 minutes to hype up your visit to Huntsville here in a couple of weeks.
I hear this time they're not going to have to wait until the roll-up doors can finally be closed before they can set up their booth. He's got them set up to the side so they don't have to be in the path there. That was really unfortunate, the way that all worked out last year. The timing of that. Thank goodness we have confirmed no accidental, unplanned shows right before the expo. So we'll be able to get in at the normal times to unload and get set up on that Thursday. So thank God for that. You going to be bringing your truck, Alan?
I'll have the Armada.
He'll have the Armada.
We can get tons of stuff in that Armada.
Does that mean you're bringing a fleet of vehicles?
No. I was actually just looking, wow, the expo really is just a couple of weeks away.
It's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's going to be great. really, really looking forward to it. I will say I do have one really sad. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Are you going to the South Carolina Comic-Con? I think I asked you that last week, and I think you said no. But if you haven't done the South Carolina Comic-Con yet, you should. The guy that runs it, Rob Young, awesome human being. I mean, just a phenomenal guy. Runs a great shop, and I think you'd like him, and I think you would do very well there. He runs a great show. Okay, very good, very good. Well, and boo to him for being a party pooper. At least you have common sense. It's
Bianca, we did find out that there's a monster truck show going on the same weekend that the Huntsville Pop Culture Expo is going on. I was trying to push Jeremy Long to see if we could get some type of a video of George Takei hanging out of Gravedigger screaming, "Oh my," but apparently that's not going to happen. So, that would have been hysterical.
That would be hysterical, and that would make me laugh. I would dearly love to see it. Maybe we could get Corbin or somebody, Bianca or something, to draw it. Maybe that'd be the closest thing that we could do. She would do it. She'd hang out the side of Gravedigger and yell, "Oh my."
My thing is, if I climb up in Gravedigger, I'm not getting my picture made. I'm taking it for a test drive.
Over the nearest parking lot?
Anywhere I want to go.
If I remember correctly, Bianca, your husband is a tattoo artist. Is that right? And if so, does he ever get asked to do tattoos of your artwork? I've always wanted to know that.
Oh, and Bianca, I actually misspoke. I guess it was last week. The print that you did that my daughter has is actually Stitch holding or like a frog on Stitch's head or something like that.
That's most excellent.
I did.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's fantastic. I would imagine that's a really cool model you guys have there. It's like so reciprocal. I draw the thing. He draws the thing on a different surface with somebody who wriggles and it's like, ah, my God, what are you doing?
Do y'all ever get into it? Do you start screaming copyright infringement at him?
I bet not. I bet she's very lenient with him.
I think that would be funny, to be honest with you. Does he have to pay you a percentage for using your art?
What I'm trying to tell Bianca that they need to do is they need to get up here for the tattoo expo that happens up here every year too. He gets a free pass. Yeah. See, she's a class act too. Like, let the man ride. It's all good. But yeah, he ought to come up here for the tattoo expo every year. And then she could come up for that too. And then we get to see twice as much of her. And that would be awesome. I think I told you the last time. Oh, he just owes me fresh baked sourdough every night. Does he make fresh sourdough bread? And if so, how do I marry this person? Oh. Just throw what you think would be cool in my box. I could do that, Nick. I could actually put in something if I think it's going to be cool, and I think you would like it. I would pop it in your box and give you a shot at it and see if you agree that you like it. Dang it. No fair.
Oh, Bianca, while we have you on, and before we end up signing off, I got to ask you: do you have prints of these? Do you sell prints of these? And just out of curiosity, the main reason why I'm asking is because we have a black cat.
Does your black cat have wings?
Okay. I will definitely. Well, she's so old; it's only a matter of time before she gets them.
Well, I hope those aren't, because those look like bat wings.
Yeah, I will definitely be picking one of those up for the bug then.
Yeah,
Or black
Kaylisa's
cat.
got a black cat too. His name is you'll like this, Bianca. His name is Higgs Boson. He's like a parkour champion, and you are the surface that he likes to parkour off of. And he also has this crazy loud, like, "Where is my food?" And so when they're out of town, and my wife or I go over to feed their cats, like you'll be opening the can, and he is behind you with his paws up on your butt, and he's like pushing you, going, "Where is my food? Open up the can." No manners at all, that cat, but he's a sweetheart. He's a funny boy.
Yep, ours is Boo Boo Kitty. That's her name.
Boo Boo Kitty.
Yep, I tried to
From
rename
Monsters
her.
Inc.
I tried to. She literally come walking up to Bug when Bug was like a toddler. The cat didn't even have a name. And she come walking up to Bug, and Bug was a toddler, and all of a sudden she just screamed to the top of her lungs, "Boo Boo Kitty." And that's how the cat got its name.
Well, fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Now, I have accused the cat of being the eater of worlds and devourer of souls, but, it's a black cat.
Well, that could be any cat.
I wanted to rename the cat Cosmic Creepers, but I got voted down.
What a great one. That's a great reference. Oh, Lordy. Well, hey, everybody who stuck with us, thank you guys. We really enjoyed talking with Jeff Johns and Jason FABOK. And then it was great to have Richard pop on and talk about Rook a little bit and his comic shop up in Fargo, North Dakota. And then we got to chat with Bianca. So great times all around. That's awesome. Again, this coming Wednesday, Ghost Machine Day. It's the launch of Ghost Machine with 3 titles. 3 very, very cool looking, very good titles. Pick them up. Give them a shot. See if one of those is up your alley. See if you don't like them, that's great. You tried it. I think you're going to like them. I think you will find a title that you like because they're really cool. And I got to tell you, my curiosity is absolutely piqued with a couple of these that I'm really excited about. Come out on Wednesday. Celebrate Haven's 23rd birthday. That's outrageous. Pick up some comics. Read some comics. And then come out to the expo here in a couple of weeks. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be a great show. So that's all we ask. Have a great time. Thank you, Bianca. Yeah, we just, this coming Tuesday, 23 years. In just a couple years, we won't have to pay that premium anymore for renting a car. It's how you measure things, is in the weird little milestones, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you got anything you want to tell folks before we sign off for the night?
Read more comics. Definitely pick up. You got Feral coming out today, or actually Wednesday. Next week, you definitely need to pick up the Ghost Machine stuff, because next Thursday night we'll give an honest review of it, and that way there'll be no spoilers for y'all.
Sounds perfect. Everybody have a great night, and we will catch you all next time. See you soon.